Okay, show of hands. Who actually expected the One Piece live action adaptation to be good? Anyone? Just me? Alright, in all fairness, I should not be sucking myself off too hard. I didn't start watching One Piece until long after the adaptation was announced, so before that time, I was decidedly in the whatever, never heard of this show category. But I will say this, when this random news article that first announced the main cast popped up on my feed one day, my first thought was, wow, I don't know who One Piece is or why their anime is so goddamn long, but I think this might actually be the first really good live-action anime adaptation series. It's kinda hard to explain the vibe I got, but the fact that I didn't know who the fuck any of these actors were told me that this production actually put a lot of stock into picking actors that genuinely fit the role. And for a property as huge as One Piece, where the casting Chris Pratt meme would have been far too probable, this was very unprecedented, and told me that the One Piece live action was going to be bold, risky, and most importantly, interesting. But what did I know? I've never heard of this series. Sometime later, I started watching One Piece, really enjoyed it, organically referenced my other One Piece videos detailing my journey, and then I had a thought. An intrusive, blasphemous thought. During the Arlong Park arc and getting to that scene of the show, I dared to think, nay, I believed without a shadow of an irony that the One Piece live action would be good. What was my basis for this? Well, this might sound pretty fucking crazy, but I honestly believe that out of all of the big name anime properties out there, One Piece, in all of its goofiness, is one of the very few that lends itself well to a live action series. Actually, let me rephrase that. It lends itself well to a Hollywood/Western/Florida Man live action series. See, as much as we Americans like to think the entire world revolves around our personal interests, Japanese media kinda doesn't give a shit. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they appreciate their neckbearders as much as the next country, but let's not kid ourselves. The majority of our weebery was made by a Japanese audience for a Japanese audience. And that applies to all of their live-action adaptations as well. On the silver screen, we got AOT, Gintama, and Bleach as just a few examples, and on the cable side of things, we got City Hunter, Erased, and 537 Death Note series. All made for nerds of the Japanese variety. Now, can anyone point out what the movies all have in common and what the TV series all have in common? That's right! The films are all heavy action fantasy IPs, and the TV series are all mostly grounded in reality type series. I probably shouldn't have to explain that these allocations happen largely because of budget reasons, but I will. For things that require more CG and practical effects that would be far too costly to produce across several episodes without looking like shit, it just makes more sense to make a film adaptation where you really only have to go absolute ham on the effects one time. Likewise, why would you waste a movie budget on a human drama that doesn't prioritize visual effects when you can just film everything on the streets of Kyoto or Tokyo on a smaller production budget? TV series it is! Now, here's the bigger question for y'all. Where does One Piece fit? And the correct answer is neither. At least, not neatly. Look, we all know what One Piece is by now. It's an adventure fantasy story about a young man who Kaizuko ni ore wa naru. It has cool battles, human drama, and Usopp, so we know it's worth its weight in gold. Now, if I was a live-action producer, I can immediately see the problem here. Despite what the power scalers want you to believe, 80% of One Piece is dedicated to building characters, introducing locations, and setting up conflicts. And you really can't tell the story of One Piece in any meaningful way without all that. So naturally, a live-action TV series would give you plenty of runtime to work with. However, the other 20% of One Piece is crazy-ass abilities, dynamic fight scenes, and a restaurant in the shape of a giant codfish. To replicate any of this in a way that doesn't look cheap as all hell would require, you guessed it, a movie budget. And that's the rock and a hard place analogy for you. You want the TV format because you can stretch out the East Blue Saga evenly across multiple episodes, but you also need those film bucks just to make this world feel alive. So unfortunately, neither of these options would work for One Piece. Unless you got a big fat American producer and their big fat American dollars. Say what you will about Western Hollywood, but even when they're narratively shit, they'll at least look really good doing it. And that's why out of all the things that could have happened in the OPLA, I was actually never too concerned about the visuals. Fantasy adaptations have really come into their own as far as presentation is concerned, if Game of Thrones and insert fantasy show I've never seen before is any indication. Naturally, you still need cartoonish big sacks of money with dollar signs on them to get the job done, but I figured, hey, with enough resources, even the Gum Gum Gatling can look fucking legit. So yeah, I was feeling pretty optimistic at this point, cause the One Piece live action had all of the right building blocks. But, as we all know, all of that can come crumbling down if you remove the foundation. And that was actually my biggest reservation when I heard this production was happening. Cause let's not beat around the bush. Hollywood used to have this weird-ass history for erasing Asian people out of their own stories that I swear it must have been some oddly specific fetish. I know we meme the fuck out of 4Kids with all their jelly donuts and whatever crack they were smoking in the casting department.
Hey, gorgeous! You remember me, right?
But I'll give them a pass on the account of being unintentionally funny. But fast forward to 2023 when I finally decided to pick up the American Death Note movie. Partly for comparison reasons, but mostly for shits and giggles, cause I was hoping I could at least get some comedic mileage over the Michael Bay-ness of it all, but frankly, the hate boner it has for any sort of complex storytelling was so erect that I couldn't even afford it a pity laugh. Then I was like, let's see how the Cowboy Bebop adaptation plays out. Apparently they realized actors come in more than one shade of Quaker Oats, so it's gotta at least be better, yeah? And it was. About as better as hooking up with your cousin would be over hooking up with your cousin's dog. It only looks more wholesome if you don't know the truth. So yeah, I never really understood why Hollywood thinks foreign properties have to be whiter than an unseasoned chicken leg when they adapt them for the West. Do they think weebs watch anime secretly wishing it was filled with American characters promoting traditional American values? No, bro, we got friends for all that. We watch anime because Japanese storytelling is immersive, emotionally gripping, and just really fucking cool. And yeah, cultural differences dictate that there will be some things that we're just not gonna vibe with. But as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly why Western-made live-action anime adaptations should exist. I mean, not for everything, of course. I don't think a Naruto filled with real-life white folks would fare very well. But for Japanese-produced stories that aren't strictly set in Japan, like One Piece, embracing everything we love about the original while simply making it more accessible to people who might want to cross that cultural bridge can really come a long way. And holy Christ on a corn dog, the One Piece live action delivered all of that and then some. I tell you, when that first teaser came out and I saw Iñaki Godoy throw that first gum pistol looking like he was having the time of his life, I knew right then and there, it might not be great, but it'll definitely be good. And make no mistake, even with all of the flaws present in the adaptation, and yes, there are some, I'm not petty enough to deny greatness when I see it. Instead, allow me to offer my own personal insight as to why the live-action One Piece works when everything we know about Hollywood tells us it shouldn't. For one thing, One Piece is weird. Really fucking weird. And I'm not just talking about the snail transponders, dude. The world of One Piece exists on some imperceptible plane of existence where common knowledge has no chance against rule of funny. This is a series where an anthro reindeer can switch between 9 different forms and giant continents can be propelled high into the sky for over a century. Nothing about this world makes a lick of sense. And you know what the best part is? No one fucking cares. Look, man, if there's one thing I've learned from being around people in my lifetime, it's that kids, and a sad amount of adults, are pretty damn stupid. I don't say that with disdain, by the way, as I'm one of them. Just that most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to really care about how technology, ecology, and all the other ologies work unless you're a big ol' nerd. What that means is that so long as you don't break any of your established rules, you can pretty much get away with anything. And that's why I love how completely blasé the One Piece live action is about its own universe. Garp rolling up with the freaking dog hat? So what? The marine dude rocking rat ears and actual whiskers? Sure, why not? You think I give a shit about the neon sign at Makino's bar? No I don't, and neither do you. And sure, the series is a little self-aware about the whole calling out your attacks thing, but look man, we were all 10-year-old kids watching Dragon Ball at some point, okay? The very first time you saw them yell out moves, like, yeah, it was odd at first. But we got over it 2 seconds later because it's cool and fun and it pissed off our teachers. The sheer audacity of the live-action series to just have all of these exist without anyone making a damn quip about it tells so much about their faith in their audience being absolute dorks. And then, of course, there's the tone. I've come to realize that One Piece as a series has a very specific atmosphere to it. The first half of the series is a nuanced, three-dimensional story about human loss, tragedy, and a war against the state in which grisly, bloody death is an all-too-common occurrence. All while also being a cute, wacky nonsense cartoon about making friends and following your dreams. For some reason, Western media really fucks with both types of stories, but absolutely hates putting them together. I don't know if concerned parents got too pissy that Happy Tree Friends was not the free babysitter they were expecting, but nowadays it's like, okay, you can curse, drink, and show blood on screen, but you also have to be a bunch of nihilistic douchebags. And I'm like, what if I want to be sexy, tragic, and dangerous, but still be fun, goofy, and optimistic? Well, there is one genre you can watch if you want all that, if you're interested, of course. Yes, please! I am so deprived of content! How do you feel about superhero movies? I don't know, man. Like, is it so hard to believe that miserable adults facing the harsh reality of their own dwindling impermanence might actually want to see stories that make them feel happy? Or is that just too radical of an idea? Well, thank Goda for One Piece, cause for real, they absolutely nailed the mood of this show. And in all frankness, that mood rides or dies with Iñaki Godoy's portrayal of Luffy. This is an exceedingly difficult character to pull off wholeheartedly, and I can't even begin to explain just how refreshing it is to see a live-action series where the lead is completely devoid of sarcasm or insincerity. This dude represents everything that One Piece is meant to stand for. Dreams and friendship. Is it schmaltzy? Yeah. Naive? Possibly. But honestly, we kind of need that right now. It's the current year of 2000, and I'm at the point in my life where I kind of prefer my escapist fantasies to be blue skies and sunshine over demon lords and brightness settings that are turned all the way down. There's a reason I keep going back to those promo videos of Iñaki, Emily, Makenyu, Jacob, and Taz just vibing with each other, and it's probably not because of any undiagnosed attachment issues. The market for stories about genuine platonic adult friendships runs drier than my poor excuse for a sense of humor, and I'm forced to scrounge for the crumbs. Repeat, crumbs for this incredibly specific interest of mine. I recall an interview with one of the showrunners that I'm honestly just too lazy to cite, that they weren't trying to replicate or replace the manga of One Piece. They simply wanted to provide another extension to this story while capturing all of the highs and lows you experience when you see Luffy's journey unfold. And really, if the secret to breaking the live-action adaptation curse was as simple as all that, then dare I say, maybe the true treasure that is the One Piece was the friends we made along the way. Nope, never mind! Wow, you guys are really still here? I thought y'all might have dipped considering the last One Piece video came out like, what is it, 4 months ago? Yeah, so thanks for being so utterly patient with me, guys. I know I don't post about One Piece as frequently as many would like, so I appreciate you guys crawling over from the graveyard to still support me. I do talk about the show quite a bit in my Discord server, so if you want to see the most recent update on my One Piece journey, then hey, come join the fun. We could always use more crew members. Anyway, thanks for watching, give that like and subscribe button the good old smasheroo, and until then, stay tuned.